Hello and welcome once again to this Red Gaming Tech video. Myself and Marto, as always, I'm here with the latest news from the tech world in the last 24 or so hours. Today we're going to kick things off with something very interesting related to AMD's EPYC. So before I go any further, I just want to say that this particular segment is thanks to an article from Usman Pezada of WCCFtech.com, and of course you can find his article linked in the description below this video. So basically what has happened is he has spotted something very interesting at the top of the Syssoft ranker, the Hygon Diana 686 processor, which is basically the Chinese counterpart for AMD for the EPYC processor, and is currently at number 1 on Syssoft's cryptocurrency benchmark. And WC again did a really interesting write-up about the whole partnership between AMD and Hygon, and again you can find that article as well linked in the description below this video. But essentially the TLDR is that AMD did not design the Hygon processors, should I say, cryptographic layer. So just an interesting tidbit to kind of tuck under your hat there. But the main thing we can take away from this is that it is again just beating everything else out there. It is solidly at the number 1 position, and just kind of refresh your memory if you missed all of the kerfuffle about the Hygon C86 processor. It is again based on Diana x86, which is Zen 1, and it is being recognized as a Sugon server rack, which basically means that it is a copy of EPYC Gen 1 with 32 cores, 64 threads, and is currently clocked at 2 GHz, which would be the base. Unfortunately, not really much more to offer on this one. Cryptography is not really my realm of expertise, to be quite honest with you, but again, you can find both of WCCF Tech's articles linked in the description below this video. Interesting stuff to see the Chinese counterpart ruling supreme in this particular arena. So we're going to move over now to an article regarding RYZEN 3000 from computerbase.de. So some time ago you undoubtedly recall us talking a lot about the AGESA 1.0.0.4 update, which was going to heavily benefit the RYZEN 3000 series. As with any AGESA update, of course, it was going to bring with it a whole host of improvements, but one of the key things that it was going to, well, make better is, of course, the all-important clock speed, and the boost clock, to be more specific. You may recall not too long ago, and not too long after the release of RYZEN 3000, there was a fair bit of controversy over the fact that the processors were just not reaching the boost clocks that were actually being advertised previous to its release, when all the launch materials and of course all of the previous conferences where AMD have been talking a lot about the specs of the various processors in the RYZEN 3000 line. Obviously this has now been pretty much rectified with further updates, but it is interesting to mention, however, that basically the first BIOS updates with AGESA 1.0.0.4 have now been released faster than they previously assumed. So basically they've been out sooner than we actually expected. And again, all this information is thanks to an article from computerbase.de. So we can see various boards and various brands that have now offered support for this particular update. We can see various ones from ASRock, that being X570, X470 and X370 boards. And again, you can find a link to Computerbase's article which has all of the boards that will actually be included. We also have some ASUS boards as well. And this is beta BIOS with AGESA 1.0.0.4. So if you want to get stuck in and see what these changes actually are for yourself and see the improvements that they actually make with your own eyes, well, if you have any of the boards listed in Computerbase's article, then have at it, my friends, and let us know what your findings are if you do decide to do a little bit of testing. I'd love to hear from you. So let's move on, however, to Intel now. The first of which is regarding Gemini Lake, as we have an article thanks to fanlesstech.com, and again, you can find their article linked below. Lots of tasty links for you in the description today. But according to their article, we're going to be seeing 6 new Gemini Lake SoCs later on this year, and these are going to include the Celeron J4125 and J4025 and the Pentium J5040, as well as a few mobile parts, that being the Pentium N5030, Celeron N4120 and N4020. And these are still based on the 14nm Goldmont Plus architecture, but they are going to have significantly higher frequencies of cache in some cases, and we can expect, according to this particular article, we'll be seeing these processors on the shelves in early 2020. And they have helpfully updated their article today as well to basically show the specs, and all those SKUs I just mentioned are listed. So again, you can see it on screen, or you can find their article linked below. But just for example, you can see that the top end is 4 cores, 4 threads, which being the J5040. And it's going to be a base of 2 GHz and a single core boost of 3.20. The lowest end one, the N4020, is 2 cores, 2 threads and 1.1 GHz base with a 2.8 GHz single core boost. But that's not the only Intel thing I have for you today, my friends. No. We have something rather interesting, as they have filed an antitrust case against the Fortress Investment Group, a firm owned by Japan's SoftBank. And immediately I know questions are raising in your mind like, antitrust, interesting, tell me more. Basically, Intel are alleging, according to an article from Reuters, that SoftBank stockpiled patents to make a living out of IP disputes with other companies, and of course one of them that being Intel. So the complaint filed in the Northern District of California basically says that Fortress bought over 1,000 US patents, some of which include patents from various companies such as NXP Semiconductors, and basically they're now using these patents to get Intel to pay royalty on every processor sold since 2011. So, yeah, pretty serious accusations. And there's even a little bit of an excerpt here from the lawsuit itself, which kind of explains their thinking a little bit more. It says, quote, "One way in which Fortress has tried to turn around its performance and justify SoftBank's investment in it is through increased speculation on patent assertions. And this is due to the fact that SoftBank bought Fortress for a shiny sum of $3.3 billion back in 2017. So definitely going to be interesting. As with all lawsuits, especially involving anything tech-related, this is going to be pretty much slower moving than a glacier, but it's still going to be interesting to watch nonetheless. But we're going to move over from Intel to Nvidia, as we have some very interesting news regarding the RTX 2070. Yet more rumours today for you, my friends, this time from ithome.com, which basically states that Nvidia are going to be resuming full production of the RTX 2070. You might scratch your chin and go, hang on, weren't those rumours a while back that the whole thing was going end of line because, you know, the Super Series exists? Well, at least according to this report, Nvidia's gone, actually lads, don't worry about it, don't worry about the whole end of line thing, let's actually resume full production of the RTX 2070. And according to the report, again, from ithome.com, Nvidia are going to be working with AIBs in order to get this done. But because obviously the Super 2070 version exists, we can most likely reasonably expect for the vanilla card to get a price cut versus what it launched at, which of course was around the $500 mark, depending on which version you ended up going for. So if they reduce the cost of the vanilla RTX 2070, it obviously isn't going to really interfere with the Super variant, given that that's around the sort of $500 to $550 mark, again, depending on where you purchase it, which version you go for, etc, etc, etc. But will still be competitive enough and offer a nice price versus performance to actually be a worthwhile get. Because again, if it was kept at the vanilla price, in my mind at least, I'd be like, I might as well spend a little bit extra and just get the Super. But obviously, if they reduce the price, then again, it makes it a bit more of an appealing get. And obviously, Nvidia are definitely feeling the heat a little bit from AMD, and they know that they have the top end pretty much to themselves, at least at the moment. So it would make sense to me for them to utilize the space that they have in this particular area of the market by bringing this card back, and they could probably do it without hurting themselves too much or encroaching on the Nvidia Super's territory too badly either. But I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on this one, guys. Do you think this is something they should do? Because again, this is according to a report, this is not confirmed, at least according to what I can dig up. But if it is true, and this is something Nvidia are doing, what do you think of it? Do you think this is smart? Would you be interested in buying a 2070 vanilla at a reduced cost? Let me know in the comments. So we're going to move over now to our final topic of today, which is regarding some gaming news. Now, people who have watched this channel for a while know that the horror genre is one of my absolute favourite genres. And it's actually had a bit of revival the last few years. It's kind of quieting down again, but we're still getting more good horror games out these last few years than we did for a long time. There was a sad time where it was just like action horror, and I'm like, but I don't want action horror. I want horror. and thankfully it's come back, which is good. So according to a report from RelyOnHorror.com, we're going to be seeing a pretty much dream team come together. So we got the Deadly Premonition, Silent Hill and Killer 7 creators teaming up together to make a game. Now, we don't really know all that much about it other than the fact that it's going to be an all-new IP and is going to be inspired by the works of David Lynch. Apparently Season 3 of Twin Peaks was mentioned specifically, as well as the original game Siren, if any of you have played that, excuse me. So I'm really excited, to be honest, just purely because of the people working on it. You know, the Silent Hill, Suda and Swery, cool, sign me up. So obviously it's going to be a long time before we actually see anything from this, but colour me intrigued and definitely interested to see more as the game development actually goes on. So that is me done for this video. Thank you so much for watching. As always, your support is highly appreciated. I'll see you next time.